The only new things I like are episodes of The Garage Comedian. And lucky for me, one is starting right now. Why am I still here? Barrett, can you please hit the intro?
Oops, my bad. Here it comes.
The Garage Comedian.
It's a beautiful day for a joke.
Welcome back to another episode of The Garage Comedian. It's great to have you all back. Happy July to all of you. So, new things. I think most people probably like to have new things, but I don't fall into the majority. I prefer older things. Now, I'll give you an example. Baseball caps. I hate having to break in a new baseball cap. It's got a straight brim. It's not real comfortable. It doesn't look particularly good. Not a big fan. But a broken in hat, one you've had for years, it contorts to your head, looks great. Another thing I'm not a big fan of new is sneakers out of the box, especially white ones. Those are the worst because what happens? As soon as you get a mark on there, at least for me, saliva goes on the finger like that, and then I start wiping it off. Come on, I want to be perfect again. I get so stressed. And I think my disdain for new things comes from my upbringing because growing up we were, well, I won't say poor, but we didn't have any money. How about that? Call that what you will. So I would often get hand-me-down clothes from my older brother, which are fine. And if I was out playing and I got a hole in one of those shirts, my mother didn't care because it was well-worn. We got plenty of uses out of it. And we just went on to the next one. That's how I was raised, back when the old stuff was new. And my mother, too. My mother, her entire life, only had one brand new vehicle. It was a Chevy Celebrity. It was a 1986. It was a manual transmission. I've actually only had one brand new vehicle in my life. It was a 2001 Honda Accord, also a manual transmission. And when I had that, I found myself parking out in no man's land when I would go to a parking lot so no one would park near me or scratch the vehicle. I would vacuum it every week. People couldn't eat in my car. I think it brings out the worst in us sometimes when we get all stressed like that, whether it's a vehicle or the same can be said about relationships. So my wife and I, maybe about 5 years ago, we went out to dinner with my friend Walter and his new bride, Linda, at the time. They had just been married a couple of months before that. She still had that new wife smell. And she was coming back from the bar and she had 2 beers in hand and she accidentally bumped into a guy, spilled some beer on him. It was a complete accident. But understandably, he turned back towards her and said, "Hey, watch where you're going." Well, Walter jumps up from our table, gets in the guy's face, apologize. It's a little over the top if you ask me, but the guy did apologize. So that was then, that was 5 years ago. Now, fast forward to about 5 months ago, we were at a concert, the same 4 of us, and a guy walks up to Linda and calls her an a-hole. He says, "You're an a-hole." Well, she turns towards Walter and says, "Well, are you going to say something about that?" And he said, apparently he knows you really well. Yeah, that new wife smell was gone. But speaking of wives, I had a friend of mine, Denise, from high school that called several of us together maybe about a year ago, I guess. She said, "I've got some big news, guys. I know you all thought this day would never come, but I'm engaged." And she said, his name is Thomas, and he's 68. Now, she was 43 last year. When she said 68, I gasped. I said, "Well, I guess you got something old. Now you just need to get something new borrowed in blue. Am I right?" Another female in my life who just turned 40 and had her 3rd child said to me recently, "That's it. This baby factory shut down. No more kids for me." And I said, "Oh, so what you're basically saying is a late payment would be bad, but a late period would be catastrophic." She looked at me and said, "Remind me again why I still talk to you." I said, "Because I'm your cousin." What's that expression again? Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. I think Hall & Oates experienced some of that. She's a man-eater. In fact, if you take the word ladies and really look at it, really look at that word, what does it say? It says the lad dies. It was right there the whole time and we didn't even see it. So the other day, my wife walked up to me and said, "Well?" I said, "Well, what?" She said, "You didn't say anything about me losing weight." I said, "Well, I also didn't say anything about you when you gained weight. Do you really want my ongoing running commentary on the matter?" I realized very quickly that wasn't the right thing to say. That was 2 weeks ago, and I Still haven't got a home-cooked meal. The body's a wondrous tool, isn't it? I'm on the back nine of life now. I'm 44 years old. And from 40 on, I think of our bodies much like vehicles. They're depreciating assets. So each year that goes by, you're worth a little less than the year before. When we open up our eyes in the morning, we think, will the engines start today? I believe all of our bodies should come with a grade, much the way they grade baseball cards, like 1 through 10. You're in mint condition, near mint, excellent, good, poor. I think that would be kind of nice. And it would especially be valuable for those dating websites. Because of course, as you know, you get to choose the photo that you want for your profile, and then you're writing your own blurb, so you're controlling the narrative. This could serve as kind of a checks and balances for that. It's kind of like if you see a brand new beautiful car on a website. Aesthetically, it might look great, but what's underneath the hood? Is this thing going to actually run? Match.com and the like could get some software to help determine who's soft and who's got a little more wear than they're letting on. And we can have it bypass all those HIPAA guidelines and get straight into people's medical records to get us the information that we need to make an informed decision.
He's a 44-year-old male who can't see worth a lick, pees more regularly than a nursing home resident, has gone under the knife twice, and snores.
HBG score 3.5. Poor.
A 3.5. Wanna go out sometime? Sadly, now I'm at the age where some of my friends are getting sick or having some serious medical issues. In fact, up until recently, I thought the stroke center was for aspiring adult film stars. Yeah, as you get older, things become more challenging, especially new things. My mom, she just got her first smartphone. She was using the old school flip phones up until now. And she said to me, David, it's so confusing, this phone. And I said, well, it'll take a little time. And she said, well, it's not the technology, it's actually the phone itself that's confusing. And it's not just me. I asked your Aunt Joey, I had her look at it too, and she thought it was confusing as well. I said, wait, your litmus test to tell if the phone was confusing to operate was to ask your twin sister? I'm not a betting man, but I could have guessed that outcome. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to see more funny videos like this, click the subscribe button. New episodes launch each Monday. The more you know.